The second week of the 2012 legislative session continued the campaign against the working people of the state. This week began with the Senate meeting on the floor to discuss appropriations and redistricting. Instead of honoring the will of over 60% of the voting population of Florida, the legislature continues to draw maps to favor incumbents and are finding any way to hack apart our state to keep it gerrymandered and away from the intent of fair districts. As this continues to work its way through the legislative process, we will continue to keep you up to date. On Wednesday, the Floridians for a Fair Economy announced the Fair Economy Act. This legislation seeks to end tax structures that protect special interests and rewards the rich at the expense of hardworking middle-class families. The proposed legislation would end the paperwork tricks played by rich corporations to avoid paying their fair share of taxes in Florida, disadvantaging honest small business owners, while also stopping big multinational corporations from wiring money back and forth to other states so they don't have to pay the taxes in those states. This legislation will also finally put an end to many of the corporations' tax loopholes, benefiting only the rich corporations and hurting the hard-working, middle-class families of Florida. On the same exact day of this press conference, the Senate Rules Committee brought up two highly destructive, job-killing privatization bills in a 45-minute meeting. One bill, SB 7170, now SB 2036, would allow the legislature to privatize any state service with no substantive review and eliminate all transparency for the process, allowing the legislative leaders to auction off Florida with no deliberation, no cost-benefit analysis, and especially no public input. Yes, you heard that correctly. The legislature wants the ability to privatize any service of our government without your consent or notification. The second bill, SB 7172, now SB 2038, aims to privatize our correctional facilities throughout the state of Florida, which will eliminate thousands of jobs, risk public safety by turning over prison security to the lowest bidder, and eliminate accountability for prison administrations. Experts on prison privatization, correctional officers, and the Working Family Lobby Corps were on hand to make their voices heard in opposition to this corporate takeover of governmental responsibilities.
We should never make a mistake when we're privatizing. We're dealing with lives when we're talking about corrections, and we're dealing with taxpayer dollars. Senator Wise, last Monday you made a great, kind of a rhetorical question. We were talking about the Lawton Childs Trust Fund. And you said, how are we going to prevent future legislative bodies from making the mistakes that you said that the legislature made with the Lawton Childs Fund? I'll tell you on this, if you move forward with 7170, you're opening the door for a future mistake, another convergence to happen, another mistake where we lose taxpayer dollars, we don't meet the savings. 100,000 state employees had their records jeopardized because of the contracts that were not properly vetted through convergence.
I'm not here to argue about how I haven't had a pay raise since I've started. I'm not here to argue about the rising cost of health insurance. I could stand up here and argue about my brothers and sisters and myself included that have been assaulted on numerous occasions due to severe understaffing. I'm here to argue that I want to keep food on my table. I want to have a good doctor for my children to go through. And I want to continue to serve the department because I consider it an honor because I'm truly proud of what I do. And I know that I am not alone in that situation.
Florida policymakers are considering really an unprecedented expansion of privatization in this state. No other state has undertaken such an ambitious experiment as the one proposed in 172. Evidence in your own state raises questions about private prison costs. Back in 2005, your Department of Management Services revealed that private prison companies had cheated Florida taxpayers out of almost $13 million through unfilled job positions and inflated per diem rates. In 2010, the Florida Center for Fiscal and Economic Policy reported that Florida's experience with privatized prisons raises serious questions about whether the taxpayers are getting their money's worth.
Even with opposition from two senators, the bills moved through the committee and now head back to the Rules Committee on Monday of next week. Stay tuned next week for another legislative update. Solidarity.